Well, good morning and happy Friday. All dressed up and ready to go. Date night out. Yeah, I thought I'd get ready already for gym. Actually, just feeling a little fancy this morning. How are you feeling? Let's put you in an incredible mood. Boy, do we have a show on tap for you today. Star Trek fans, you have got to tell everyone that you know. We've got some inside scoop about Spock, Leonard Nimoy. We're going to talk to his son today. Adam Nimoy is my guest. In fact, an opportunity for you to see him right here in St. Louis. If you're outside of our area, maybe you travel into St. Louis in November. He's going to be at the Jewish Book Festival. And if you remember last year, we talked with so many incredible authors that were at the St. Louis the Jewish Festival, Jewish Book Festival that's held in Creve Coeur. Do you remember Rebecca Minkoff? I'm obviously very into fashion, so that was so cool for me last year to talk to the fashion designer. Martin Fletcher, NBC News war correspondent, was on with us last year. And, the author of Tuesdays with Maury and The Five People You Meet in Heaven. So many awesome, really cool things that we did for you last year. So in about a half hour, we're going to be talking with Adam Nimoy, who is, again, the son of Leonard Nimoy. He's going to be at the festival coming up this year. We're going to do some news you can use. We've, of course, got weather for all of you in our immediate area and some trending news that we'll give you as well. And then a rundown of something really awesome for those of you that have someone that is suffering with breast cancer. Maybe they passed from breast cancer and we're going to remember them, honor them, making strides against breast cancer. That is on tap for all of you this weekend. And the weather is absolutely gorgeous for this. So good morning to all of you. Hi, Julie. Hi, Sean, Julie, Hannah, Linda. Thank you so much. Remember, we are on multiple platforms and feel free to shout out. I will be bouncing back and forth between Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, Rumble. We're even on Twitch today. I think a lot of you that said, hey, get onto other platforms for us. You got it. Just let us know where you would like to see us, and we will deliver that for you. All right. Our aspiring meteorologist has been on with us for 10 months now. You all love him. You know him. You love him. He can't be live with us today, but he did put together your weather forecast in our What the Weather segment.
Alrighty, welcome back into this new more weather forecast video. This one has been looking significant for a couple of days. So
good morning to you.
Good morning, Monica.
Finally.
Nice to be here.
Good morning, everybody. Unfortunately, I can still not join you because we are still having those internet issues. Hoping to get that fixed soon, though. But I still do want to bring you the forecast with a high of around 72 degrees and sunny. We're going to see that sunshine persist as we head towards late next week. So all throughout this weekend and into next week, we're going to see that sunshine. That's why I expect drought conditions to unfortunately come back to the area. We're also going to see those temperatures really rebounding from where they've been, with highs in the 60s, lows in the 30s. None of that as we head through this weekend and into next week, getting up to around 80 degrees on Tuesday. That's 10 degrees above average, but then a cool down late next week as we head towards Thursday, 68 as our high. That's around average for this time of the year, but I do expect these cool downs as we head into the next couple of weeks, because in my October forecast for the whole country, I did highlight St. Louis as an area for frequent shots of cool air, and we have seen that through October, and I expect that to continue as we head into the late weeks of the month. So have a great weekend, and definitely not going to need those jackets or coats as much as you have these past couple of days for this weekend and this next week.
All right. So again, aspiring meteorologist Beckett Moore. You haven't seen him live with us for about a week. Some kind of internet issues that they're having down in Chesterfield. But when he can come back on with us live, he will do so. He said he hopes in about a week or so. For all of you that are outside of our area, just know that that kid is incredible. So he's got a birthday coming up in a week, and he will be turning 15. Can you believe it? So skilled, so talented, and absolutely well on his way. I was a news director for many, many years when I was in television and radio, and I would hire him. I've said this before. I would hire him right now, ask him if he could bypass school and just start for me. I put him right up there with some of the best meteorologists that I've worked with in my career. I mean that. All right, we're going to do some news you can use, interact with you a little bit. I want to tell you about an event coming up this weekend. For a lot of you, maybe you've already been training, maybe you've already been fundraising for this, because that's what it's all about, to advance research. We're going to talk with a doctor from Excitement Cancer Center on Monday, and a person that is involved with this event, Making Strides of St. Louis. Tomorrow, beautiful weather for you. 7:30 a.m. They're going to have registration. The 9 a.m. walk, Union Station, and Hannah is at home for us moderating. She will drop in the information about the event for you. If someone wants to still register for it and you just want to make donations, or you want to spend 24 hours grabbing donations from your friends and family to be involved with this, do so. Some top teams. I see CrossFit Achieve in there with already raising over $12,000. Penske, Team IBEW. Love that. Some of the top participants you can see on the page. So congratulations to CrossFit Achieve. They've raised $177,000, not CrossFit, but total so far, $177,838.62. Their goal, by the way, though, is $350,000, and we've got 24 hours before that takes place. So for all of you that have had someone that has suffered or is suffering right now with breast cancer, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and tomorrow is National Mammography Day. So ladies, and I'm going to put myself in that, we forget to do that. Get your mammography done. It's quick. It's easy. Make sure that you do that. Take care of the girls. And you know what I mean by taking care of the girls. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I think I see my guest might be on early. He was going to be on with us at 7:30, but I'm going to take a quick break and see if he's here with us. So stay tuned. We might push our news you can use to a little bit later. All of you that are new to the show, feel free to drop in any comments or questions. We're going to have a fun one today. Again, thanks for tuning in, and share, like, and love all of the streams so that your followers can see us as well here on The Real Monica Adams Show. We are live on location, and this is the really cool thing. This is exactly what we can do from your business. We call it Mobile Monica. You know, I'm always on the move. Everyone knows about Jody's balls, and why is that?
I have the best balls.
Oh my God. You enjoying this?
Always.
Watch this, I gotta move with her.
Orange Theory is created to help people live a more vibrant life.
When we tell you that they have some of the most beautiful sunsets, we mean it. We're now in the brainchild of Adventure Unknown. That thing
Well, he's got a
is
heck of a
beautiful.
story behind that leopard,
I
too.
know. It's going to be a very dangerous shoot right now.
It'll be
She says it
fabulous.
is. Monica or Mez Adams. How's that
Yes,
sound?
that sounds great.
This is Marianne Graff, owner of Just Be Kind Coffee House and Cafe. And you can see all the people in line. Oh, that handsome gentleman is... That would be my husband, Jim.
My mission statement says I want people to feel better leaving than when they came in.
And you do. Again, no calories when you're spreading kindness.
No calories when you're spreading kindness, especially if it's on the weekend.
And we've got some great Mobile Monicas coming up. Since January, we were booked every single Thursday to have this show live at your business. And people ask, can that be anywhere? The answer is yes. We've done shows in Cabo San Lucas. I'm getting ready to do a show in Italy in just a few weeks. So you dream it, and we will bring the show to you. Of course, we love all of you that have been following since we started the show about a year and a half ago. And we've had, you name it, it runs the gamut, from heartbreaking stories to stories of hope to making you laugh together, doing shows about, cooking, foodie. We've been doing a lot of entertainment stories. I covered entertainment news when I was with NBC before we decided to start the show. So last year I mentioned that we loved doing the interviews with the authors from the St. Louis Jewish Book Festival, where we are going to be talking about that again. Stay with us on the news you can use. We are going to bump that because my guest is here already. Now, if you have not had a chance to go to this, This is an incredible lineup yet again this year. So there it is on the screen. Hannah's going to drop it for you right now in the comments so you can know the entire festival schedule held in Creve Coeur. And we're going to talk now. You saw me teasing it yesterday to the author of this book, The Most Human. It is Adam Nimoy, Leonard Nimoy's son. You know him better as Spock, right? All of you Trekkie fans. And if you right now are just finding out that we are doing this interview, share, like, follow, and then text or call anybody that you would like to know, because we're going to really give you the background on who Leonard was as his father. So first of all, welcome, Adam. Great to have you.
Thank you, Monica. I'm glad to be here.
I love it. So yes, I mentioned that this is an incredible festival each and every year. First of all, before we get into talking about the book, talking about you and your father and the relationship, have you been to St. Louis?
No, this will be my first trip. I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, well, we welcome you. You're going to love it. Absolutely. Do you get a chance to come in a little early, or is it in and out fast?
Well, I'm on a tour with the Jewish Book Council, and I am all over the country. So it's going to unfortunately be a very fast trip.
Well, you will love it. Again, you're going to have gorgeous weather. I hope it's not going to turn too cold when you come here. We'll give the full rundown of when you are going to be with us. But I've been seeing in the last several months different interviews that have been done with you, and just really compelled by the story of you and your father. So we're going to go through a lot of this for people that have grown up with your dad, whether it is in Star Trek or the many different movies and series that he was in. They look at him and they were just in awe. And that is actually something you talk about in the book, of everywhere you were, that people wanted autographs, people wanted the attention. And, I don't think we've ever thought about this, but to the family, you can be proud of it, but you can also say, all right, enough. I'm a little tired of this because I want time with my dad. That happened to you, didn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, in the beginning, it's a novelty, and all the attention was wonderful. I mean, I'm old enough to remember all this because I was 10 years old when Star Trek went on the air.
Yep.
And I know what life was like before Star Trek went on the air. And my dad was basically just a struggling actor. So when the show premiered and the paparazzi came around, we had a lot of photographers, a lot of reporters coming to the house to interview us. And yeah, when I was on the street with Dad, he'd be mobbed, which just amazed me that could happen. I mean, I think it amazed him as well. He and I, in fact, went to a carnival in West LA together to spend some time together, some father and son time. And almost immediately he was mobbed. So at first it was kind of exciting and a little annoying. But then as time wore on, it became a little more challenging for us in the family. But then later in life, it was just wonderful because he had so many fans. There was so much love out there for him.
If you're just tuning in, again, Adam Nimoy, the son of Leonard Nimoy, and we're talking about the fact that you get a chance to see him in person. He will be at the St. Louis Jewish Book Festival. Again, Hannah is dropping in all the information that you need to know to get tickets, to be able to hear more about this and ask him questions first and foremost. William just says, hey guys, I've been a Trekkie since the original, of course. And I was flipping through last night, Adam. My husband's away, so I was at home with the dogs. And sure enough, just flipping through, I'm like, there you go, Star Trek all over the place. I mean, it's still here with us. What does that mean for you to have this lasting legacy that your father provided to the world?
Well, Monica, it's wonderful. I mean, the afterglow of this incredible legacy that he was a part of I love it still to this day. I mean, I still get a warm and fuzzy feeling. I was just on a plane flight last week across the coast, and the guy sitting next to me, a young guy, was watching Amok Time, an original episode, on his phone. And I didn't tell him who I was, but he was engrossed in that episode. And this is a guy who must be in his 20s or 30s. So, it just keeps going. It's a message of hope for the future. People glom onto that, particularly now when there's so much polarization. And I still really feel, I'm just so glad and so happy to be a part of that, and so proud of the legacy that my father helped create.
Well, and then we're going to get into a lot of things about the book, but how much of an influence do you feel that your dad on what you're doing now, because if you're just tuning in, Adam is a graduate of UC Berkeley, Loyola Law School. After 7 years in entertainment law, he left to pursue the directing career that he's doing. He has directed over 45 hours of network television, as well as a critically acclaimed documentary film about his father, For the Love of Spock, in 2016, an official selection of the Tribeca Film Festival, featured in the New York Times article to boldly explore the Jewish roots of Star Trek. And he published a Father's Day piece about his relationship with his father for the Boston Globe, and the author of My Incredibly Wonderful Miserable Life, and has been in a 12-step recovery for 20 years, living in Los Angeles right now. We're going to talk about that, but the road, then, the path that you're on right now, do you think you would have been on it if it wasn't for growing up in an entertainment family?
Well, I mean, yeah, entertainment family or not, we're just a regular family with regular family problems and dysfunctional issues and addiction issues. My dad was an admitted guy with an alcohol problem. I'm your run-of-the-mill pothead. And, it happens in all families. That's why I believe the book, The Most Human, that I just published, I'm hoping will resonate with people. It doesn't matter if you're in a celebrity family or not. I mean, a lot of people have very similar dysfunctional dynamics, and I think I'm glad I went into recovery. I'm lucky I went into recovery. As you said, I've been sober for over 20 years.
Yep.
My dad himself was in recovery, and it was recovery that really helped us reconcile because we had a lot of difficult issues between us for many, many years.
We're going to talk about all of that again, as Adam just mentioned, The Most Human. So how did you come up with that title? Drawing from the passion of so many things that you release in this book, how long did it take for you to come to this title?
Well, I was helped to this title by the publishers. There were people on staff there who were Trekkies, and they reminded me that this is his was the most human, referring to Mr. Spock, even though Spock is only half human.
Right.
So we just thought it was, and also kind of, I'm trying to humanize a little bit about, pull the curtain back a little bit about Leonard had his issues, as do everybody. And we had issues. We had a lot of conflict through the years, although I'm very careful to be respectful of the millions of fans who love him and don't want to hear a tell-all book. The fact is, I was always proud of my dad, and I always supported him in whatever he was doing.
We're going to talk about some of the difficult times. If you have any questions, by the way, for Adam about what he's doing, about the book, about, again, this the festival and being able to see him here. The festival events, by the way, run November 2nd through the 17th. There's also a Missouri's Own panel, which is really cool. That includes some local authors. Leonard Nimoy's son, Adam Nimoy, stunned when the Star Trek actor wrote you a 6-page letter that, quote, read like an account of a failed and wasted life. Talk about that and the fact that, but again, there's so much that the two of you went through, but getting that letter, did it bring everything home for you to finally say, okay, we had to go through this, and did it make us stronger?
Well, yeah, he was upset with me, and which happened occasionally, and we were at a low point in our relationship. This is in 2006. He sent me the letter in response to, I had sent him a Father's Day gift. And he thanked me for the gift and wished me a happy Father's Day as well. I had 2 kids at the time. And then he went on to say why he felt our relationship was a failure and that it was not, it lacked meaning and connection. And it kind of, he went through the list of all of his gripes and his resentments towards me and the issues that we had with one another. And, at first the letter was devastating, of course, for me to receive.
Sure.
But then, my friends in recovery really helped me understand that it was an opportunity for me to make an amends to my dad. This is step 8 and 9. It was something I resisted doing, but they felt that really the letter, he set out for him the things that he needed help on, the things that he had problems with in our relationship. And my brothers and sisters in recovery were very encouraging to say, just take the letter, go to him, make an amends for it. It's a part of your recovery. It's not just for him. It's for you to also let go of some of your resentments that I held against my father.
Well, Adam, you talked again, if people are tuning in every second, you talked about the addiction aspect of your father, the addiction aspect of yourself. You were actually introduced to AA, looked at the 12-step program and thought, this is silly. You were a little bit against it when he was taking you and you were like, what is this? Is this our time spent together? We're coming to a 12-step program together. We're coming to AA, I guess. Is this our time together?
Yeah, that was one of my dad's ideas of a father-son bonding moment. I really didn't understand what I was doing. My first AA meeting was with him when he was in a new stage of his life. He had remarried. He was doing very well. He was very happy, and he didn't understand why he was still drinking.
Mhm.
And then he reached out to some friends who were in AA, and then for some reason he decided it might be a good idea for me to go to a meeting with him. But the problem was that for the first time I heard the 12 steps, and steps 8 and 9 are about making amends to people you had harmed while
Right.
you're in your addiction. And my dad had never made an amends to me, and it just infuriated me that I just felt that the program, was just it didn't make sense to me that this is a part of the program, and my father had managed to skip those steps. So it put me off to AA for a while. Now this is in the late '90s. I didn't go sober myself until 2004, and had to come to accept the fact that my father was not going to make that type of an amends to me, and that was going to be okay. It was not my job is not to force him to do stuff. Is to take care of my own business.
Well, and you have a friend to thank for you to even go in, right, to AA to be open to that.
Well, yeah, well, really, I just made my own decision to go into it, but then I found I had good friends in recovery, and one of them was Justin, who I talk about in the book, The Most Human, as being one of my my Eskimos, one of the guys who showed me around and took me to the HIP meetings and gave me the benefit of his own recovery because he had a few years more in the program than I did, even though he was, I think, 15 years younger than me.
So again, Adam Nimoy, author of The Most Human, and the book is available. Also would love for you to go to the festival, meet him in person. So some of the things that I thought were so powerful in the book, Adam, and I want to read this. This was the difficulty I had with my father. There was always an emptiness between us. We were missing a deep emotional connection. He sometimes told me that he loved me, but it was so hard to feel it. We never watched TV together, never played catch. He never came to my little league games. Except for our occasional excursions, Spock and Spidey, we never hung out together. It just wasn't his thing, but I was always proud of him, even before Star Trek. I love that. I love the emotions that so many people, and I want you to see yourself in this story that Adam's talking about with his father, the ups and downs. You have some people that say, my dad, my mom were always there. They're my coach, right? They're there to support everything, and I am so blessed. But you look at, I didn't have this, but then you can look back, what did he have? Did he have it from his parents? Did he have it from his grandparents? We many times talk about it on this show, Adam, that it's a generation thing that they didn't know that type of love. Do you agree with that? That's the same thing that happened with you?
Yeah, I'm very clear to point that out, that my father had very different modeling from his parents, and he grew up in a very different milieu. I mean, my dad was born during the Great Depression to Russian immigrant parents. They came from Ukraine, my grandparents, but they considered themselves Russian. And they were not, the demonstrative, warm and fuzzy type people. And my dad's whole objective during that life, growing up on the streets of Boston, was to generate money and cash and work odd jobs and pursue his passion for acting. And when he came to LA, he told his parents he wanted to be an actor. They were devastated and would not support him. So he came to LA with nothing and then had to hustle and support himself. And then 7 years after he got to LA, he had a family of 4 to support, more hustling, more odd jobs. Now, I didn't have any of that experience. That's a generation away. I like to say it's a planet away from me. We were planets apart because I was born in sunny Southern California. When I was 10 years old, Star Trek came on the air and things started happening for us. And we had, a really good life. When my dad was 10 years old, he was selling newspapers on the Boston Common in the dead of winter during World War II. Very different upbringing experiences. And that is in large part why we had difficulty connecting when I was a kid.
Well, and you talk about this in the very beginning of the book, that your dad was always, you hear the clink in the glass. There's a drink being made. You also tell a pretty powerful story about your mom, and your mom, I'll let you tell this, your mom going to the refrigerator and grabbing this milk jug and holding it over her head and then throwing it against the wall. What was going through her mind, the entire family's mind at that point?
Yeah, well, my my parents had some issues, just like many couples. I mean, they managed to stay married for another 25, 30 years
Right.
after that incident. Yeah, look, my dad had talked about the fact that in dealing with the pressures of making Star Trek is really when his alcoholism took off. And it is just something that kind of plagued him throughout his life. It's a very high pressure job he was in. Star Trek went for 3 seasons. I mean, people say only 3 seasons, 78 or so episodes. But then he went right into Mission Impossible for 2 seasons. It's very difficult work. I mean, it's 12 to 14 hours days on the set. You come home, you learn your lines, you eat some dinner, you go to sleep, and you get up in the morning, and he had to be in the makeup chair at 6:30 in the morning for all that Spock makeup. So, in a high pressure situation like that, people need ways to decompress. And unfortunately, my father chose alcohol to do that. And it just stayed with him for quite a bit of time in his life. So the problems that I had as a kid sort of blossomed into conflict when I became a teenager and then continued on, exacerbated by his alcoholism and my, penchant for pot smoking.
Yep. Again, I love the rawness that you have in this book. And thank you for that, because, I mean, the name of my show is The Real Monica Adams. I want more people to do just what you're doing, the most human, the most ripped down, raw, telling it. William, who's a big fan, again, of Star Trek, said, when did your dad start working with photography? I love the way he has interest in the way he takes his pictures.
Well, my dad had been working with a camera since he was a kid. He had a little brownie apparently, and he took pictures in Boston and developed them in the one bathroom they had in their 2-bedroom apartment where 6 people were living in. He lived with his parents, his grandparents, his brother, and sometimes an uncle. It's something that he just held on to all his life. I mean, I remember after when Star Trek was over and he had a little more time on his hands, he built a little darkroom at home. This is in the 70s, and he started publishing books in the 70s of photography and poetry. So it's something that he was always, very inspired by and interested throughout all of his life. And it created an interest in me as well to pursue that as sort of an avocation.
Again, we're talking about the book, The Most Human, Adam Nimoy. William also said that he saw him with Bill Shatner on stage back in 2004 at the Trek Expo, and that they were absolutely hilarious. Talk about their relationship, though. A lot of people have seen that play out of the connection on screen that we saw on TV, but what happened really, truly behind the scenes?
Well, I'm often asked that question. I think it's safe to say, look, Bill and Leonard are just 2 Jewish boys in outer space, and they are very close in age. They were only about 4 or 5 days apart, and they're very strong-willed individuals. And there was some conflict. I mean, I think it's pretty well documented. Spock became popular very quickly. Bill was the build star of the show, and I think it was a little bit of a kind
Ego?
of a it was challenging for Bill. Let me put it that way. There's a lot of attention on my dad with reporters. There was some conflict between them, and it carried on for a while. I think the good news is, Monica, that they even though there were some problems on the set behind the scenes, they're phenomenal when the camera was rolling. My dad said, I asked him, if you had problems with Bill on the show, how is it you guys are so absolutely amazing on screen together? The chemistry is undeniable. I mean, they're one of the best dynamic duos in the history of pop culture. And my dad said simply, we were professionals. That we just put all that aside when the camera started rolling. We wouldn't have the Spock that we have today without Bill Shatner's take on Captain Kirk. I mean, Bill came with a lot of, joie de vivre and panache and swashbuckling and gleam in the eye. I mean, he was really out there with the character, which allowed my dad to be more contained, more controlled, more introspective. And, and later in life, the two of them really formed a very strong bond for a couple of years there. They were very, very close. And I think that's to be celebrated as well.
Oh, 100%. Again, if you have any questions, I'm going to look at our other platforms, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Rumble, Twitch. We're on all of those right now. Feel free to ask Adam any questions. We're going to give you the full rundown of where you can see him. Can you hang with me for just a little bit more?
Oh, I'm here. I'm yours.
Okay, good. Adam Nimoy, again, the author of The Most Human. We're going to talk about the St. Louis Jewish Book Festival, some really incredible authors coming up. We'll also be interviewing some more very, very soon. We're going to talk more about this walk that that Adam has gone through, looking at, again, the addiction aspect, overcoming that, and then really being able to thrive in life. More with Adam Nimoy when we return. We're at the Vault Luxury Resale in Brentwood, and I think this is going to be a very dangerous shoot, Diana.
It'll be
She says
fabulous.
it is.
We do costume jewelry. It's everything women want. You know, sometimes I want to grab a Kendra Scott earring or just a fun, untrend earring, but other times I want David Yurman, John Hardy, Tiffany. So we also have that.
Some beautiful costume jewelry, some really gorgeous high-end jewelry.
Yes. We have phenomenal cowboy boots. We have, you know, Paige, Mother, all designer denim.
Luxury resale, not at the luxury price.
We, you know, have every kind of high-end handbag and everything from Bottega, Louis Vuitton, tons of Gucci, Chanel. We not only deal with people in St. Louis, we deal with, you know, a lot of people in New York, celebrities in New York, Nashville, Beverly Hills.
Monica Hermes Adams. How's that
Yes,
sound?
that sounds great.
All right, one more designer area.
Look at these. These are Chanel, Jimmy Choo, Prada, Gucci. We have everything from Steve Madden boots to Chanel boots.
They're going to love what you come back with.
Yes.
21st, and yes, it's far reaching. They've been in the most incredible closets in Nashville, New York, LA, Paris, Milan, you name it. Can't wait to talk with those ladies again soon. And this lady who owns Elemental Aesthetics will be on with us next Wednesday. Jennifer Warman Bloss, one of our many sponsors that we want to thank. Again, there are many things that they can do for you at Elemental Aesthetics. You've heard her talk about it over the last month and a half. If it is from a facial standpoint, maybe it's something that you want to correct with regards to laser therapies, or maybe you want an IPL, microdermabrasion, dermaplaning. You know, I asked her how often people should get facials. I've always heard if you can, maybe every 6 to 8 weeks, or you do it with the turn of the season, which here we are in St. Louis. We're talking about summertime weather yet again that Beckett mentioned in the beginning, but the cold weather is a-coming for sure. If you're not ready for it, your skin's not ready for it, let them get you ready. Many things that they can do for you inside and outside of the body. Red laser therapy. They've got that wonderful salt room I mentioned, and they've even got a bed for people who suffer with ADD and ADHD. Elemental Aesthetics, again, 425 North New Ballas Road. You can go to elementalaesthetics.com for more information. Welcome back to the Real Monica Adams Show. I'm your host, Monica Adams, and my guest, Adam Nimoy. If you're just tuning in, the son of Leonard Nimoy, but he's done so much in his career, including authoring this latest book called The Most Human. You can see him, you can talk with him, and be at the festival. Again, it is the St. Louis Jewish Book Festival, and he'll be there on Monday, November 4th, starting at 5 p.m. It'll end at 6:15. That is at the campus in Creve Coeur, number 2 Millstone Campus Drive. The Most Human, Reconciling with My Father Leonard. And let's talk about that. I love the fact that it happened, that the peace was able to come, the calmness was able to come, that you made peace before he died in 2015 at the age of 83. Can you imagine if that wouldn't happen? Because there are tons of people that I life coach. And there was a woman recently who her dad had cancer. You could tell that it was getting worse. He was going into hospice. And I said, there's so much turmoil between the two of you. You've got to find your way to peace. Otherwise, I'm afraid you're going to be living with regrets. Think if you wouldn't have had that happen. How different would your life be right now, Adam?
Well, I would have regret, which I prefer not to have. I mean, I'm in recovery. We don't want to have fear. We don't want to have regrets. We don't want to have guilt or shame. Guilt, a little guilt's good, but shame, no. Look, the fact is that it's really important, I think, if you can, to reconcile with primary family members. That is what the book is about. I'm hoping it is helpful to people. You do not have to be an addict or alcoholic to be in recovery. The 12 steps of recovery are simply tools that you can use to deal with some of the challenges in life, like challenging relationships. Mm-hmm. My relationship with my dad was very difficult, very challenging, but we found a breakthrough with 12-step recovery. Now, I made an amends to my dad after he wrote that long letter to me where he was very upset with me. But my dad was also willing and ready to make to let go of some of the resentments he held towards me. People a lot of times are waiting for an apology. it was never going to come from a guy like my dad. I mean, he's just not built that way. Leonard didn't go around thinking about who should I make an apology to today. That's not the way he was constructed. So, I just kind of accepted that. And the matter of fact, in the book, I talk about the fact that I went through some personal tragedy later on with my second wife, Martha, who was diagnosed with cancer. And my dad was in a position finally to be the father that I needed by being supportive to me when I really, really needed him. That's living amends, we call that. And I'm so grateful for that. And just, the fact that we reconciled and had many years together, the last years of his life, enjoying each other's company and doing stuff together. And when he passed, I just had a real sense of satisfaction, completion, love, connection to him. And I was really grateful for all. And we just let a lot of the dirty laundry, we just let go in the past. Now, not everybody can do it, Monica. It is not easy to do. And I needed recovery tools in order to make it happen. But it's something that I think people should strive for.
Well, absolutely. You say this, Dad's drinking and my pot smoking were a combustible combination, which was why at night I would hide in my room to smoke, study, and stay the hell out of his way. Still, there were skirmishes about little things. I mean, think of someone who's addicted. Then you have another person up against that. And it's just this constant struggle and a constant fight. If you have someone who's not, maybe they've got a clearer head, they don't have the fog of pot smoking or drinking, but you put all that together and you can't find a clear path, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you have to understand is even though I had this conflict with my dad, it was a weird relationship in that we had so many great memories together. I mean, my dad mostly celebrating his phenomenal success. So many great, wonderful things happened to our family. And we did do a number of things together and we were okay for a while. It's when we ran into trouble or disagreements that my dad and I had no tools to reconcile or resolve these things. We were not good in family therapy together. In fact, I described one session where he and I were with a family therapist and he walked out of the session. It was just not our thing. So, it was a weird relationship because I was always proud of my dad and I always tried to give him some leeway for the fact that his parents were not great for modeling for him. Right. Yet still, we needed help and I needed help. I wanted to relate to my dad. I wanted to be close to him. I didn't know what to do. And then I got some very good direction from my friends in recovery.
What do you say when I'm kind of surfacing through some of these pictures, when you look at that embrace, your dad hugging you, right? We talk about some people never get the emotional, I love you, never get that physical touch of, oh my gosh, my mom, my dad are here for me. That safety feature, right? That safety feeling, I should say. What does it mean to actually have some of that?
Well, I mean, I earned it. I had to work for it. It didn't just come on its own. I mean, my dad and I, there were many, many obstacles in our way. And that embrace came later on in his life when we had finally found a way to reconcile. And it's very satisfying. It's lovely. I just didn't look, as soon as I could accept my dad and not prove to him that he was wrong, everything was fine.
That's powerful.
Yeah. I mean, it was very powerful. And, in fact, after, we really kind of reconciled, it was my idea to go back to Boston where my dad grew up. And I hired a camera crew and we made this little documentary together, Leonard Nemoy's Boston. It was a way for me to honor him and a way for him to really bookend his life, to see the incredible trajectory of his life coming from a lower middle class neighborhood of struggling parents, struggling immigrant parents, to going to Hollywood and just conquering the world, really. I mean, the trajectory of Leonard's life is phenomenal. And I wanted to, really honor that. I always wanted to honor that. And I had to find some way to reconnect with my dad through recovery in order to get to that space in my own head.
So this up and down, again, whenever I do these interviews, it's always to say, look, yes, there are struggles. And I love the fact that Adam said, even if you're not in an addictive family, and he mentions this in the book, The Most Human, that we all have our struggles, though. You might not be addicted to drugs, alcohol, gaming, sex, you name it, the addictions. Even if you don't have that, you still have to, if you're willing to, admit there's nobody perfect. And it's always, oh, they look like the perfect family. What's going on behind closed doors? Oh, people could be watching right now. Oh, well, Adam grew up around Hollywood, and that's fascinating. But then you listen to Adam say, yeah, but it's hard. It was hard. This family thrown into such stardom so very, very quick. You say living with dad was like living with a stranger. As a kid, I often had trouble connecting and relating to him, but I was always proud of him. And I love the fact that you keep talking about being proud. Even before Star Trek, I'd see him popping up in bit roles on some of my favorite TV shows: Get Smart, Sea Hunt, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And then one night, he brought home Polaroids of himself in makeup and wardrobe for this pilot that he was working on. December 1964, nobody had heard of Star Trek. Still, the 8-year-old me had watched enough Outer Limits and My Favorite Martian to understand exactly what you were looking at and exactly what was getting ready to happen. So very powerful. And I just mentioned, again, I'm flipping through and here it is still to this day in 2024. Looking at this picture, you mentioned earlier about him going into makeup and the ears. The ears now are in Washington, D.C. Is that where it is?
Well, yeah, he kept a pair of ears from the original series, and he built a little black box for them, and they were on our mantle at home for decades, and he had them up until the day he passed away. And Susan, my stepmother, graciously gave them to me. It's a part of the legacy, passing on the legacy. I had them for a number of years on my desk, and I just thought, I don't want the responsibility of having those ears. And a couple of years ago, I just thought they belong in the Air and Space Museum at the Smithsonian, and that's where they are today, so that the public can see them. I mean, the ears are so emblematic of this incredible career, and they're so, Spock is so iconic. That's the thing, Monica, that just blows my mind. You have the haircut, you have the eyebrows, you have the ears, you've got Spock, and that's one of the reasons why he resonates for to this day.
Oh, and we've got Halloween coming up in just about a week and a half. How many things over the years do you think people have pulled from Star Trek, and how many little kids have been Spock? Were you ever Spock for Halloween?
Well, yeah, I was, and not that long ago. I'm almost embarrassed to admit it. I did it. I just thought for fun I would do it, to give my kids something to complain about. Listen, when Star Trek went on the air, a fan magazine accidentally printed our home address as mailing address for fan mail. Our home address.
Oh my God.
On Halloween, people were showing up wearing Spock costumes. It was crazy.
What did the Nimoy family give out for Halloween? Did you give the big candy bars?
Well, I don't remember. We gave everything. It was the giving to us that we were really enjoying. It was what people gave to us. Because it was such a parade of Star Trek characters at the front door.
So and again, you're coming in town for us for the St. Louis Jewish Book Festival. When people meet you right away, do they automatically do that? Do they automatically do the hand and say, I can't do it or I can do it? How difficult is it? Because I was practicing it last night. Here we go. For both hands.
I'm only one-handed on this, so you're ahead of me on that.
It's hard, though. Your fingers don't want to go together like that.
No, they don't. Well, it's an international gesture. I mean, everybody knows, the live long and prosper gesture. And that's a part of my dad's Jewish background. I mean, he got that from the priestly blessing that the rabbis give to the congregation on Yom Kippur. He saw that in an Orthodox synagogue in Boston as he was growing up.
So talk about your faith, and how much does your faith play into the characteristics of who you are now, being able to go through the AA 12-step program, being able to get through everything that you and your family have gone through, and be able to be here today, write this book, and be okay. How much does faith play in that?
Well, I mean, faith plays a large part of my recovery. I mean, it is, a spiritual program of spirituality. Right. I mean, you have to find a higher power, whatever that may look like. A lot of people struggle with that because they don't believe in God. Right. But it is important to be able to give over that you're not in control, that you can't, you don't have, all the answers. That you have to give a lot of it up. This is what I had to do in terms of dealing with my dad. I thought I could handle him. I thought I could deal with him. I thought I could take him on. I thought I could prove to him that he was wrong, and I was wrong. And it just came to a point where I had to give it up to my higher power. I am powerless over, alcohol, drugs, or other people. Now, my father introduced me to a congregation in West LA called Beit Teshuvah. It means House of Return. I'm a board member now there, and it's a residential addiction treatment center based it's a faith-based institution. And a lot of my recovery is being connected to that community, going to Shabbat services on Friday night regularly, and listening to the residents there and being connected to their journey and their spirituality and their connection to whatever their higher power is. So my faith has a lot to do with it, a lot to do with my recovery. It keeps me connected. It keeps me grounded. I study Torah with the rabbi, looking for the meaning of it in my own life. And this stuff was all started by my father. My father was not a religious man, but he was a very, very steeped in Jewish culture. And he's the one who really kind of connected me to this organization that has really reconnected me to my faith.
And I love, again, you mentioned this in the very beginning of the interview about a half hour ago, is that I'm very careful in the book and just in life, and I'm sure when anybody ever talks to you, is there are so many still to this day and will be for generations to come fans of not only Star Trek, but of your father. And so honoring him, here he is. He's been gone, 9 years? Yeah. Since 2015. So 9 years later, there are people who that I've talked to in my career that are vindictive, and they would want to just tear down the person because they're no longer here. You are honoring him. You were able to, again, find that peace and are very careful to continue to say, yes, let's be real though. Let's say what we've gone through. I want to add one more thing, and then I want to make sure you know where to see Adam. You talk about the popularity, Spock's popularity happening quickly, and that fan magazines were writing about Dad's personal life, characterizing all of you as a close family. But the awkwardness that defined our early relationship, Adam says, blossomed into conflict, sometimes smoldering, sometimes open and intense. There were occasional flashes of warmth between the arguments and hurt feelings, even something akin to love, especially when we were celebrating my father's many successes. What about the rest of the family? Let's talk about your sister, and you talk about, again, the tumultuous side of the relationship with you. With he and your mother, still being able to keep it though many, many years later, where some people wouldn't. They would say, "I'm out." But I mean, kudos to her for sticking with it, trying. Looking at the entire family unit, do you feel like everyone feels and felt the same way that you did, the ups and downs?
Well, I mean, my sister, who I'm very close to, she's only 17 months older than me. She knew what I was going through, and she got some of it too. But her relationship with my dad was very different. She was the first child. She's she's the girl in the family. They had a much closer relationship, though. Although she herself got some of the conflict with my dad. She got into it with him sometimes. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But she validated a lot of my own feelings, that it wasn't me. It was very important for me to have her, in my life to make me feel like there's nothing wrong with me, that a lot of it is my dad's issues, and I shouldn't take all of it too personally. In terms of my mother, look, the fact of the matter is we needed her because she provided the parenting, that Julie and I were so desperate for. She was loving. She was at home. She supported us. She was a very caring person. And really importantly is that she stood by my father during years when it was just a struggle for them. I mean, look, it was hand to mouth for quite a while. We had nothing for years. I mean, we had nothing. And my mom never doubted my dad, his determination, his passion for the career that he was pursuing. Never doubt. And this was confirmed by friends and family members much later in my life. They told me my mother never doubted what he was doing. So, I mean, kudos to her for that. And yeah, it was, look, we were, under the circumstances, I think we did pretty well as a family unit together.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I don't want to give the entire book away. That's why I want you to go and see him in person. Adam Nimoy, again, the most human, reconciling with my father, Leonard. If you are in our immediate area, if not, you might want to follow along to see where you might be able to see him if you can't come to St. Louis. But he will be at the St. Louis Jewish Book Festival. That's the Creve Coeur campus, again, on Monday, November 4th. Tickets are on sale for this. So 5 p.m. start time, ending at 6:15. There are some truly incredible authors that will be there, but I know so many of you are Star Trek fans. Let me ask this. Can you be a Star Trek fan and a Star Wars fan at the same time?
Why not? I am.
Thank you.
There's
The whole
no
thing of
conflict
pitting
there.
one against the other, I've never gotten.
Yeah, no conflict there.
No.
Not at all.
What's your favorite Star Wars, by the way?
Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of the original trilogy. Yes. Really, that's where my heart is. I mean, it's just an amazing piece of work. And reading behind the scenes of what George Lucas had to go through to make the original film to begin with was phenomenal, really. I mean, it was a lot of challenges. It was groundbreaking. And the interesting thing is that Star Wars, the original Star Wars, showed up in 1977. Everybody was waiting for a Star Trek film,
Right.
before that. And I think it was the Star Wars success that really spawned the Star Trek movies. I mean, my dad said this repeatedly. He said, "I bet I'm going to get a call from Paramount once they see that the sci-fi franchise is something worth pursuing," and that is exactly what happened. 3 years later, we had Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
What do you think your dad would be most excited about in today's life? Looking at all the things that we have now, the series we have, the movies we have, what do you think he would be most drawn to?
Well, I mean, look, my dad, I think the legacy of Star Trek was very important to him.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was in the original pilot in 1964, the only member of the cast in the original pilot and in the J.J. Abrams iteration of Star Trek, was something that he was extremely proud of. He's very. It really gave a lot of meaning to his life that Star Trek continues, that the message of Star Trek continues, that it's a message of hope for the future, particularly in the polarized society we live in. The future looks bright for the human race. Not only do we get it together on this planet, but we join with other planets and get it together. The United Federation of Planets, and then go off and fight the bad guys throughout the universe. So, I think he would be really proud that it's a legacy of a message of hope and positivity for the future, of mankind and humankind, I should say. But the other thing I think it's important to point out, Monica, is that Spock resonates still with people because really Spock is the outsider. He's the only alien on the bridge of the Enterprise. He really is the ultimate outsider. He's a loner. He's introspective. He's not the popular guy. That's why I related to him as a kid. I was that he gave us geeks and nerds and weirdos, a real validity. Like, it's okay to be that way. You do not have to be the cool person and still have meaning and still have value in your life.
I love it. You're literally preaching everything that I talk about, which is show more kindness to each other, know your own value, right? And be willing to be yourself. It's okay also to talk about not being okay. I followed Adam on Instagram. I want you to do the same. And you were just recently posting about World Mental Health Day, which was just about a week ago. I love the fact, and I almost feel that we can pull this from the last 4 years, that more and more people, when they were stuck at home and they really couldn't go out, they couldn't be social, they started to really be introspective and thinking more of, well, I'm not okay, and I'm going to start talking about it. And it just was like, it just spread of people saying, wait, you're not okay? Well, I'm not okay either. It's okay not to be okay? Well, let's start talking about it. It's been such a healing walk that I've seen in the last 4 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, sense of community is a big part of my recovery, and we were, being in isolation, very challenging for people's mental health. Finding community wherever you are is so important to get the support you need. With me, it's at Beit Teshuva, with my congregation, with the residents who are struggling to overcome addiction, staying connected to them. It's for me, I still, I'm 20 years later, I'm still going to AA meetings to connect with the recovery community. It is important that you seek the help that you need, reach out to people. There's no shame in it whatsoever. We all do it, and we're all waiting for you to come in to, and be embraced by us. That's the whole point of recovery.
So beautiful. One final question. If there's anything, and it's always interesting because people will dip back and think, well, maybe I could have changed this, or maybe as a family, we could have changed this. Is there anything that you would have wished would have been different in your life? Would you change anything at all?
No. I mean, no, of course not. The challenges of my life were there for a purpose. There is meaning, to things. There is meaning to these challenges. The fact of the matter is that I was blessed by having a dad who was so successful. It brought so many opportunities and so many privileges and so many great experiences with Leonard. But I was also challenged by my dad's personality and our relationship. And that gave me the opportunity to finally get sober, finally grow up, finally learn that I had to just let my ego go and accept people for who they are, accept myself. Self-love is a big part of my recovery. All these challenges in life are things that we can turn into advantages and a way for spiritual growth, for self-growth, for a positive attitude, just to be content and happy with our lives on this planet.
So powerful. You are going to be so good in person. Again, I hope you get a chance to see it. I've got Hannah, thank you so much for everything you've been dropping in so that people can get an opportunity to meet Adam in person. So many people with questions. If you didn't get a chance to watch live, be sure to drop in. Adam is on Instagram. Are you on any other socials for them to follow you on?
Well, they can find me, all my social media, you'll find me at adamnimoy.com. It's all there.
Marilyn says, thank you, Adam, for sharing with us and being so real. Great interview. Stephanie says, thank you, Adam and Monica. Great interview. Linda says the same. Thanks for sharing, Adam. Live long and prosper. Of course, that's what I was getting ready to say to him, but William says it. There you go. Yes, everybody, you should be doing that at home with your hand.
Live long and prosper. Words to live by.
I love it. Hang on. I'm going to try and do them both. There we go. Just for you. Adam, you are wonderful. Thank you so very much. Again, The Most Human, and you can get the book. If you can't go in person, you can order it. It is available to you. What a wonderful interview. I agree with that, everybody. Thank you for being so real. And that is what we need more of in life. You are a good role model, Adam.
Thank you. It was wonderful to spend time with you. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back and wrap up the Real Monica Adams Show. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? Go through fear?
Terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
We would love for you to book us and bring the show. We might bring celebrity guests. You never know what we're going to do at a Mobile Monica. We want to thank all of our incredible sponsors, including Just Pools. We're wrapping up with them as we wrap up the season. Today, our final day with Just Pools, the pool and spa specialist. Now, they are making way, so don't forget about them for all of these beautiful spas. They just got some new ones in. I ran in just a few days ago to take some new video because a lot of them were sold already. But one of them that is not is this one. Try and talk my husband into this. This is a 9-person hot tub or spa. I'm talking about the therapeutic aspect, right? So you think about working out or you think about trauma to the body. I and many of you feel the same way that you need those. It's like constantly having this incredible massage. They're located at 3987 West Outer Road South in Arnold. You can call them, ask them, or just stop in 636-464-7110. Whether it's a 5-person, 6, 7, or as I said, 9-person, the pearl white. They've got these gorgeous gray marbling as you see right there on the left. I know at least a couple of those already have sold signs on them, so people were waiting for them to get those in. I personally am drawn to the coloring of that kind of like that caramel brown, but there are also opportunities for you to not only have what you're maybe going to have throughout the fall and winter, but to stock up because 50% off you can get right now all the things that you need for when you open the pool next year, all those fun toys, etc. And if you have not closed the pool, kudos to you, by the way, because you still have a gorgeous weekend here in St. Louis. It's going to be in the upper 70s by Sunday, almost feeling like you could still get into the pool. An opportunity for you to enjoy it maybe one last weekend and then close it up. So they've got 10% off the winterizing kits. Thank you, Madonna. We've loved having you on, and I hope we continue this wonderful partnership and our collaboration into next year when we open up the pools again. Just Pools, again, on the West Outer Road, the pool and spa specialist. All right, wasn't that fun? I knew it was going to be. Adam was just so complimentary to my team. He's like, boy, you really did your research. I love when I hear that people appreciate the fact that, yes, we go above and beyond. I don't want our interviews to sound like everybody else. I don't want it to be cookie cutter. Thank you to all of you that were asking questions and sharing the memories that you had. Julie said she enjoyed the interview. I'm so glad. And I love the fact that William was such a big fan. He said, live long and prosper, Adam, but also was saying what was up with him being in the Bangles music video. So maybe Adam can see that. He said he's both hands too, right? I had to practice last night though, William. I had to practice that. It wasn't an easy thing to do. Let's see. Anybody else that we missed? You think Leonard would have been alive if he stayed in the hospital? I miss him. Yes. So many people, but Keep it alive. Keep showing your kids Star Trek, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews. Let it continue on. Thank you for all the comments and questions. Let me make sure I didn't miss any over on Instagram to all of you that are popping on. All right. So I mentioned that we were going to push the news you can use to the end. And I also always like to do follow-ups, staying with the entertainment aspect. I mentioned this yesterday. Horrible. One Direction's Liam Payne. The cause of death has been revealed in a preliminary autopsy report. And there are so many people that are pouring out their hearts and souls that are big fans. So is the band, by the way. So Liam's cause of death has been revealed in a preliminary autopsy report. According to the Argentine Public Prosecutor's Office, it showed internal bleeding, 25 traumatic injuries on Payne's body, including his skull, his limbs, his abdomen. The injuries consistent with his fall and enough to cause Payne's death, according to the AP. The AP reports that medical examiners listed his cause of death as multiple trauma and internal and external bleeding. There were no defensive injuries. The public prosecutor said that Payne could have fallen into a state of semi or total unconsciousness. Authorities also note that Payne was alone when he died. He was found dead Wednesday in the Casa Sur Hotel courtyard after falling from his room on the third floor. And prosecutors said yesterday that the circumstances around his death were suspicious due to the possibility that Payne, quote, was going through some kind of substance abuse episode. Police in Buenos Aires said that they found his hotel room in complete disarray. Authorities said they found packs of different aspects of drugs, a central nervous system depressant, energy supplements, other over-the-counter drugs in the room with his belongings. Forensics teams said that a whiskey bottle, a lighter, and a cell phone were found near his body. Medical examiners have requested toxicology tests. He, of course, rose to fame as a member of One Direction with Harry Styles, as well as the rest of the band. Niall, who, of course, was on The Voice, so the band announced an indefinite hiatus in 2016. Just absolutely horrible. I mean, again, only 31 years old. If you are a fan of going to Silver Dollar City, this is pretty cool. They announced their largest investment in the company's history. My husband's going to be all about this when he hears this story. Silver Dollar City announcing this most significant investment in the company's 65-year history yesterday. They plan a $500 million investment over the next decade. The 1,200-acre project begins with the Heartland's first ever theme park resort, which will connect Silver Dollar City and Table Rock Lake. They said, quote, "This is more than just growth. It's a new era." That's according to the president and the CEO, Brad Thomas. He said, "Over the next decade, we will mindfully transform 1,200 acres into an authentic, only in the Ozarks destination, starting with our first resort. The new resort will combine Silver Dollar City's spirit of playfulness, discovery, craftsmanship, and exploration with all that makes the heart of the Ozarks so special." I'm really excited about this. What about you? Already under construction. It's set to open in late 2026. 262-room resort will feature never-before-seen vistas of the Ozark Mountains and the Table Rock Lake area, unparalleled access to Silver Dollar City's theme park. The new resort will also be just a stone's throw from the company's other family attractions, including Whitewater Water Park, Showboat Dinner Cruises, Pink Jeep Adventure Tours, and the Silver Dollar City Campground. The CEO said this investment showcases the commitment of Silver Dollar City to tourism and economic growth in the Ozarks and for the state of Missouri. That's according to the Missouri Governor, Mike Parson. He said, "We're excited to see this project bring thousands of new jobs, millions of new visitors to our great state." Yeah, you got to love that. And they hinted at more announcements forthcoming for the 1,200 acres over the next few years. So how cool. How many of you do take your kids to Silver Dollar City already? Or just you take mom, you take dad, you make it's a regular tradition. You know, we were just talking about family. Is that part of your tradition? Let me know. I'm excited about this. Now, how many of you are big fans of Bed Bath & Beyond? Thought they were gone forever. Nope, they're returning at the Container Store, making a comeback, and this time it's taking up space at a rival retailer, Beyond Inc., which brought the defunct retailer out of bankruptcy. They're investing $40 million in the Container Store. As part of the investment, Bed Bath & Beyond branded kitchen, bath, and bedroom products will soon be sold at 102 Container Store locations. The deal is a much-needed lifeline for the Container Store as it struggles with slumping sales. The Container Store has not posted a profit in 3 years. I think this is going to be huge. And we just talked, a couple of days ago of jobs being lost. And then people are like, yeah, but when this happens, then maybe it lifts another company up. So I think this is going to be huge. You tell me what you think. Feel free to comment on any of the stories we're doing in the news you can use. And I'm happy to see this one as well, because everyone's been talking about shrinkflation. Well, now Tostitos and Ruffles are adding more chips to your bags following the accusations. You got to love that. A representative for PepsiCo, which is the makers of the chips that include Tostitos and Ruffles, confirmed that the company will soon add 20% more chips to, quote, bonus bags of Ruffles and Tostitos for the same retail price. The company's decision comes as consumers online are complaining of widespread shrinkflation, and it is happening. It's a thing. Paying the same retail price or more for a product that's now smaller. Back in 21, in fact, the Consumer World website reported that a bag of Tostitos, hint of guacamole chips, had shrunk in size from 12 ounces to 11. The site, which was launched by consumer protection lawyer, also found that a bag of Tostitos, hint of lime chips, had dropped from 13 ounces down to 11. So it wasn't in your mind. A quick search for the, quote, shrinkflation content on X and TikTok shows shoppers annoyed by the skimpier content sizes of everything from Chef Bombay frozen dinners to Glad Kitchen garbage bags to the now comically small McDonald's filet of fish. In fact, one TikTok user filmed himself. He was actually opening a snack-sized bag of Doritos only to find 5 chips inside, folks. 5 chips, the user yelled in frustration while holding up 5 fingers. So this is good news that you're going to get something changing the shrinkflation aspect, and you're not going to have to pay more money. All right, and I'm going to add this in. Did you get a chance to see this? I don't know how many of you still watch the Today Show, but Snoop Dogg, who I've been watching, I was binge watching The Voice last night. I'm telling you, I don't think that they have in The Voice's history had 4 better coaches than they do right now. Reba McEntire, Gwen Stefani, Snoop Dogg, and one of my all-time favorites, Michael Bublé. Well, Snoop has been everywhere, including being on the Today Show. Not only is he also an Olympics correspondent, and as I mentioned, a coach on The Voice, now he's a talented weather forecaster. Yesterday on the Today Show, he collaborated with Al Roker to give viewers the highs, get it, and lows of the weather across the country with his cannabis-themed report. He said, let me get this weather real quick, Snoop, as he made his way across Studio 1A towards Al Roker. During the joint segment, get it, the rapper started in the West Coast, fitting for the Long Beach native, of course, worked his way throughout the country as he reported on the temperatures in each region with a fitting twist. Al, it's 57 degrees in Mary Jane Falls, Nevada. That was his questioning to Al. And Al said, that's right. He said, then I heard it was going to be 56 degrees in Stoner, Colorado. Of course, saying that with a smirk. But my favorite is when it's nice, hot, and misty outside. 84 degrees in Blunt, South Dakota. He then transitioned to the hotter temperatures on the map labeled above average highs. He said 70 degrees in Roach, Missouri. You understand me? We stay lucky in Kentucky. It's going to be 60 as we blaze in Kentucky. Blaze, Kentucky, you dig? Al, of course, and the whole staff of the Today Show were cracking up. He said, over here, we got Pottsville, Pennsylvania, where it will be 60 degrees, and down low on the go, 61 degrees at High Point. Get that, High Point, North Carolina. Best forecast, hands down. That's what Craig Melvin said as he watched the weather duo wrap up their segment. Fans actually commented on the weather report in today's Instagram, with one fan calling Snoop a national treasure. Another chimed in with a pun of their own. Love Snoop giving the weather forecast and being blunt about it. Keeping the vibes high no matter how low the temp may go, said another user. I have to say, I don't know that I necessarily was a huge Snoop fan until probably the last year or so. I love his music. I mean, I dance to it. I can't really say that I would name off a bunch, but I thought about it. If I was a contestant on The Voice, I don't know who I would choose. He is so hilarious, so comical, so warm to the contestants, and can take them so far. Reba, my all-time favorite. I mean, all of the karaoke that I've done over the years was always Reba McEntire songs. Michael Bublé, I have fallen in love with over the years. I'm a fan of Gwen Stefani. The woman has the most incredible figure. I remember seeing her with No Doubt and looking at her abs going, holy cow. All four of them are going to take these contestants so far that if you were on The Voice, who would you choose? I think I would have to be torn between Reba and Michael because those are two of my all-time favorites. But any of them would be incredible. I really mean this, that I don't think that they have had a better lineup than they do right now. All right, we're talking earlier, if you missed it, about an hour ago, about National Mammography Day being today. It's also National Chocolate Cupcake Day, National No Beard Day. So if you have one, maybe you got to shave it off. World Okapi Day. National Mammography Day is so important, though. We're talking about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And coming up on Monday, we will have a doctor from Siteman Cancer Center in our Medical Monday segment, as well as a representative from the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer event that they're having tomorrow. Again, the start time at 7:30 at Union Station. Today is also Alaska Day. And then tomorrow, National Kiss Your Crush Day. Can't wait for my husband to come home because he's my crush every day. National New Friends Day. National Fetch Day. And Sweetest Day. And then coming up on Sunday, National Day on Writing, which means I've got to continue with my book. International Sloth Day. International Chef's Day. International Day of the Air Traffic Controller. Thank you to all that are in that field. World Statistics Day and National Youth Confidence Day. So there you go as we run through the weekend. All right, everybody, let me make sure I didn't miss any comments here. I love him in the TV show called Fringe. Yes, I saw that earlier, William. Thank you. My favorite choice of snacks. Yeah, you're going to get some more, evidently, Marilyn. You should do an interview with Nana Visitor about the book she published called Star Trek Open the Channel, A Woman's Trek. Oh, William, I love that. We'll look into that. Julie said she loves Silver Dollar City. I know, I do as well. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. Let me read from Jesus Calling. I'm going to take a real quick break. When we come back, we will wrap things up because we always want to give you some positivity. And then on Tuesday, we told you what's coming up on Monday. On Tuesday, we are going to have Steve Ewing as we wrap up the Yuppie Puppy Gala, which is coming up on Saturday at Whitmore Country Club. If you didn't get your tickets, sorry, it's already sold out. We're going to raise some huge money for Yuppie Puppies Forever Rescue. $90,000 is what it cost them just this past year to be able to take care of all of the dogs that they were able to bring in. Every dog gets its chance and will be there until it finds its forever home. And that's what I love so much. And it's why we've had this incredible collaboration over the last, 8 months with Jessica Cook and myself. Love the connection that we have and love this connection too. This is my wonderful role model, one of my best friends.
She's, oh my gosh, you got a long life. You could probably live to be 130 or something. And I said, oh God, I hope not.
It's getting hot in here. Don't take off all your clothes.
I'm not going to take off my clothes. On the radio tape, going to be
Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. We're going to spank, we're going to speak. We're not going to spank anybody. We're going to speak about knowing your value. And then I'm going to ask.
Know your value. I'm going to spank them.
If you don't know your value and you don't grab hold of how important you are, I'm going to spank you. Folks, you never know what you're going to get with her. If you haven't been to our website for a while, be sure to do so. That's where you always can find the events, where we're going to be. You can click on the calendar of events and see what's coming up, the next Mobile Monica's, etc. We've got a lot of great things to do, and we're excited about going into the holiday season. In fact, I want us to just be loaded up with Mobile Monica's. So you tell me, what businesses do you want us to go to? Are there festivals? Are there events that you want us to go to? What I announced just a couple of days ago, the breaking news that you may not have heard, is that I want to reward you. So all of the community, you need to continue to follow. Make sure that you are following, by the way, the pages so that you get a notification. Whether you're watching right now on YouTube, be sure to subscribe, which is absolutely free. It just means you get a notification when we're live. If you're on my Facebook page, make sure that you click follow so you get the notification. Maybe you watch on Rumble, maybe you watch on Instagram or X. Be sure to tell people, like, yes, this show is all about fun, hope, positivity, talking about some heartbreaking stories. But as Adam Nimoy told us, finding the way out of it, right? Finding the hope and the light and the inspiration and the motivation to continue on, the amends that come, the peace that comes. We all automatically want to find a way to get there, right? It's the instantaneous aspect that people want in life. You got to walk the path as they did today. Talking about living long and prospering and thinking about pulling that from Star Trek, but really thinking about where Adam is in life today. Just absolutely loved the interview with Adam, and I hope you did as well. The breaking news I gave to you the other day was about rewarding you for one, showing up every day. Really, that's what life is about. Showing up at 7 a.m. every morning to be here with us, and then to think where we could have our next big sponsor, where we could have our next big show. I'm going to reward you with $150 cold hard cash, because in the past we were giving you $100 in Monica merchandise, our Know Your Value, which we have shirts, we have jackets, we have journals, we have mugs that you can drink your coffee and tea from, or whatever you want to put in there in the morning when you join us. We do some of these mobile Monicas during happy hour, lunchtime, on the weekends. It used to be Thursday mornings. Now it's gone all over the place. So yes, if you've got a business that you think aligns with us, which is positivity, hope, good human beings, let us know. Reach out to me, info@therealmonicaadams.com. Let me know. I will get on the horn with those people, and then we will make it happen. If it happens and it comes from you, we're going to give you $150. I mean, everybody can use a little bit more money, right? $150 actual cash, not in merchandise. If you want to spend it on merchandise, that's fine. But I'm going to give you $150 if they become a sponsor or they book a Mobile Monica show. So let's all work on this together as you are a part of our team. All right, I'm going to wrap this up with Jesus Calling. And I want to thank Marilyn, again, one of our big viewers, for giving us this book from Sarah Young. Today, Jesus Calling on this Friday, October 18th. Go gently through this day, keeping your eyes on me. I will open up the way before you as you take steps of trust along your path. Sometimes the way before you appears to be blocked. If you focus on the obstacle or search for a way around it, you'll probably go off course. Instead, focus on me, the shepherd who is leading you along your life journey. Before you know it, the obstacle will be behind you, and you will hardly know how you pass through it. That is the secret of success in my kingdom. Although you remain aware of the visible world around you, your primary awareness is me. When the road before you looks rocky, you can trust me to get you through that rough patch. My presence enables you to face each day with confidence. I love it. And Marilyn, again, thank you so much for providing us with that incredible book. We'll be back on set on Monday and Tuesday when we read from the 100 Days to Freedom books at the end of the show. And those, of course, are from our friend Stephen Arterburn. So I told you about Monday, our Medical Monday, talking about the girls. What do I mean by the girls? Ladies, we got to take care of our breast. National Mammography Day, World Mammography Day. Go today to have it done. I haven't had mine. I'm guilty of it. I'm going in today. And a lot of it is just so easy. You just go right in. You don't have to have an appointment, and they will take care of it. Peace of mind. It's so very important. Beautiful day tomorrow for the Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. We will be talking with a physician from Siteman Cancer Center. Tune in for that live at 7 a.m. We'll talk about the advancements made in medicine. How far have we come? What obstacles are we against, etc., and talking with a representative from Making Strides to see just how great this year's event was. Tuesday, Steve Ewing from The Urge. You know the band? You loved him? Well, now he is ours, right? Here in St. Louis, Steve's Hot Dogs and all the locations he have. He will be on with us on Tuesday, and he and I will wrap up how much fun we had at the Yuppie Puppy Gala. I hope I get a chance to see many of you. Be sure to come up and say hi, and better yet, make sure you bring your money along, because ultimately, what are we going to be there for? To raise money for the wonderful work that Jessica and her staff do at Yuppie Puppies Forever Rescue. If there is a guest that you would like to see on the show, let us know. If you have a connection to an incredible guest, let us know that as well. We've got some big things coming up for you. Thank you so much for the love that you always show us, and show it to each other. Remember, always, God bless you. Be kind.